good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very, very warm welcome back to the SMRC eSports Racing Summer Championship. I am, of course, David Christie, and we're going to be bringing you live coverage tonight of Round 6 from the Circuit of the Americas up in Texas. This is the national layout, and joining me tonight we have the one and the only Mr. Andy Elston. Andy, it's fantastic to have you back here. How are you?
Thank you very much for having me back. David, I'm very well, thank you. I think we're in for a real treat here for these heats, because I've just had a quick look at some of the grids, and they are absolutely jam-packed. So the stage is set for another entertaining evening of racing here. There's lots and lots of good drivers mixed throughout these fields as well. So really looking forward to it, and I'm sure we're in for another cracking night, as always, in the SMRC eSports Summer Championship.
As always, I like how you added that one in there. Yeah, so it's going to be a cracking night. We have got 5 races coming up for you tonight. Heat 1 is about to start. Stephen Clark has got in touch with us to say that he's not been invited. Now, Andy, you saw me sending out the invites. That's the
I can vouch for you.
So, Stephen, if there's room, we will get you into the next heat. This is why we say, guys and girls, make sure that you are showing online on your platform. So if you're on Xbox, please show us online on Xbox. If you're on PS4, then show online on PS4. Right, qualifying's underway, but what do you say, shall we have a little look at the track here, Andy?
Absolutely, yeah, because this is should have said no there, shouldn't I? No, absolutely, it's a track that it's got a little bit of everything, hasn't it? And the beauty of it as well for this racing too is the fact that it's a very wide circuit, so the drivers can take lots of different lines, and that means that we have a very, very mixed driving styles throughout the pack, and it means that, you know, that it's not like many circuits where there's only 1 or 2 overtaking opportunities. There's lots of places to make a move on your opponent. Yeah,
there certainly is. And I'll be honest with you, and again, I like letting my personality out. I'm not a big fan of this track. I just can't seem to understand it. At least, you know, with tracks like Nürburgring or with Le Mans or with Silverstone, they've got character, and you kind of feel this for me is up there with Paul Ricard. I think it's because there's all these different layouts, and it's so confusing to look at and to try and learn. But anyway, that's by the by. Let's go and have a little look on a little test lap that I went and did round the circuit. So this is yours truly, and what we're doing then is we're coming up towards turn number 1, and it is a very, very tight left-hander, very easy to miss your braking point, and you really have to come off the power significantly to get the car turned in. It's a long right-hander for turn number 2, and then it is a little uphill section, and the rest of this little bit up until about turn 6 is just this jinking left, right, left section, very, very high speed, and this is where all the drama is going to happen, as you see me going very, very wide on I believe this was the stable setup on the car, and of course, to remember, these cars only have the 2 setups here. So we're all the way through in towards turn number 11 here. This is turn 12 coming up, and again, this is like turn 1, very, very deceptive just how tight it is, and far too easy to take way too much power into the corner here. Down into turn 13, it's a series here, turn 13 and 14 of right-handers. Then again, you're up into turn 15, and this reminds me a little bit of Japan, and that left-hander that doubles back on itself, and then you can just sort of let it go. Now, we were talking, Andy, off air about how this circuit really takes a lot of the elements of several different circuits and kind of mashes them together.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've just came out what looks like the inspiration between the very long circuit Istanbul track, where we've got the never-ending double, triple apex sort of element, and then you there's got little bits of Hockenheim, the stadium section, in there as well. Of course, the first part of this lap is about Silverstone. So, in theory, when this track was first created, I think they broke ground 10 years ago. There was a lot of excitement around it, because people are thinking this is going to be the racetrack to end all racetracks, you know. But I think it's still, in my mind anyway, I still think of it as a new circuit. in motorsport, when in actual fact it's held very different races over the years, and it's been a track that I think brings a lot to the world of motorsport. I think it's important that there's a purpose-built circuit in the United States where lots of different series can go and compete. So I think there's a train of thought with some people in motorsport that prefer the traditional circuits, but I think these newer venues do offer something different in their own right, and a track like this, it does, I think, tend to produce very interesting racing. As we come up to this last corner here, it always sticks in my mind of Kimi Räikkönen taking his win, and arguably what might be his final win of his Formula One career here, when he came round that corner, and it's already created a lot of memories for me. I think it's a good track, and one that is, for me, a welcome addition to the world of motorsport.
Well, we'll go on a little bit more about the track in just a second, but let's have a quick look at who we've got in our first heat tonight then. Round 6 for the PlayStation Heat number 1, and we are supposed to have, now I believe there's about 12 drivers that are in the list here, however we have only got about 9 or 10 that have actually joined in. So we're supposed to have Dave Noonan, Finlay Brunton, Glenn Alcott, Kevin Barry, Craig Blake, Mark Geraghty, Kenny Brewster, Elliot Lethway, Annie Butterworth, James McCracken, Ryan Smith, Stephen Clark, Andy Sedgley, Thomas Comer, Darrell Adams. That is who is on the list, and we have got 10 drivers on track at the moment. Finlay Brunton currently leading the way with a 143.683, and then it is that'll be Darrell Adams, I think that is 143.694, so just 1/100th of a second splitting the top two right now, so very, very close. And I can't even actually remember what I got on that little qualifying lap, so I'll go and have a look at that. And is there anybody else in the top 10 that jumps out for you?
The big one for me is Finlay Brunton, top of the standings at the moment, because he is currently joint 7th in the PS4 Championship standings with 75 points alongside Annie Butterworth. And for me, I think that's a bit of a false position for the pair of them. They're two very, very talented drivers, and this is a great opportunity for them to both make their mark in the finals, because 10 drivers on track at the moment. We've got 7 that qualify for the finals this weekend. So Finlay's up there straight away on the pace with a 143.6. Of course, not a lot splitting him between the couple of cars behind him. But it's interesting, though, that this is probably the first time in a little while where we've had the pack maybe spread out a little bit in terms of lap time, despite it being this national configuration and not the full Grand Prix layout. So I wonder if this will be a theme that continues throughout the rest of the qualifiers here, where we're seeing the top 3 or 4 split by a few tenths, and then as we move down the pack, there's maybe a little bit more of a gap there. But just a little over a minute left on the board on round 1 of these heats, so this is going to be the last chance for a few of those drivers to improve upon their times. But it's certainly Finlay Brunton, the man we're following here, who's setting the pace in the opener here in the PS4 Championship.
Perfect. We'll come back to that in just a second. Here is a reminder then of how things are standing after round 5. Last time out, Kenny Brewster in charge of the championship with 51 points over Ryan Smith, then Darrell Adams in 3rd place, and then Andrew McIlvright in 4th. So it's a little bit closer on the PS4 than it is on, say, the Xbox there, Andy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look down that championship table, and any one of them could be in with a chance of winning this. Kenny Brewster, of course, has been very impressive throughout the Summer Championship so far, but there's some really big names in this one. And Ryan Smith, if he gets a couple of decent results under his belt as well. Andrew McIlvright's a driver I do enjoy watching. I think he is very, very quick, and he'll be keen to make his mark and break into that top 3 this weekend as well. Oliver Stewart, I think, is a driver that kind of goes under the radar a little bit as well. Currently sitting 6th in the championship on 83 points. So it really is very open. Whereas in the Xbox standings, there's only one man running away with it at the moment, and that is, of course, Tony Logie, who's been very, very impressive throughout the series.
Yep. So we have got 10 seconds left to go in qualifying then for our first heat tonight. Remember, 7 cars out of this will qualify for Sunday's finals. It is slightly different between the PS4 and the Xbox due to the system limitations. We've got PlayStation 4 can handle well, both consoles can say they can take a lobby of up to 15 players, but it just doesn't work out. We get about maybe 10 to 12 is about the most that we can get in an Xbox successfully, and we can do much more than that on the PS4. But there we go. So Finlay Brunton on pole position then, 143.683, and just behind him is going to be Daryl Adams, 143.694. Thomas Comer with a cracking 143.784. I don't think he's going to improve it this time by, is enough to get him in third place. But Annie Butterworth, out of nowhere, she was sitting plumb last for most of the session, sneaks in there, 144.068 to put her in fourth place. Ryan Smith is in fifth place, 144.076, and then it's let's see, Stephen Clark has actually got there, despite saying he didn't get the invite, has actually come and joined us, 144.260, and then the last man within a second of your pole position man is going to be Kenny Brewster. Now Kenny, I was expecting a little bit more pace from there, but it is what it is. Stephen Anderson in 8th place. 9th place is going to be Glenn Alcock, and then Andy Sedgley down in 10th place there, about 5 seconds, 4.5 seconds off of the pace. This is going to be a great points or a great opportunity to get through Sunday, and some valuable points for Kenny Brewster.
Yeah, absolutely. Kenny is right on the cusp there, so he's certainly making this heat difficult for himself. Very talented driver, and we want to be making a good start here as we go. It's 11% incline into the first corner. A very, very tight left-hander as well, so it's one of those ones where your race can very, very quickly unravel this circuit. So pressure's going to be on Kenny. It's a time that's perhaps not reflective of his ability as a driver, but that means we're going to be in for a cracking opening heat here this evening.
Buckle onto your seatbelts, or whatever the phrase may be, because we are in for a cracking first race. Very good evening to everyone that is on chat. Andrew Gilman, to Cormac Patterson, to Teen Patterson, to Josh McNabb, and all the likes. We've not seen Edward in here, Edward Porter. He's usually in, but never mind, we will greet him when he comes in, because the cars make their way onto the grid. We've got 5 seconds then. The lights starting to come on here at COTA for race number 1, and away we go, and it's a poor start there for second place. I'm going to come right across and straight into contact. That was Daryl Adams straight into Thomas Comer there. Little bit overly aggressive.
Absolutely. We've not even hit the first corner yet, but let's see how they get on now as Finlay Brunton takes it nice and tight. Doesn't give anyone an opportunity to throw their car up the inside. They've all got through reasonably clean, I think, in the first part of this pack, but Kenny Brewster still down in 7th place. He's not been able to make his way through in the first few corners or so here, so it'll be interesting to see if he can make his way. There's a couple of cars just right in his path there as well, so it's not going to be easy for him. Andy Sedgley made his way up to 8th place. He was starting, of course, on the back of the pack, so he's made a good start here so far, but of course, as we well know, there's still a lot of time left and lots of opportunities for coming togethers and drivers to make their way up and down the field.
Yeah, certainly is. So pretty much 2nd to 6th place, they're all duking it out, and that's allowing Finlay Brunton to quite happily set himself a way off, and he's already a second up the road ahead of Daryl Adams and Thomas Comer there, with Annie Butterworth in 4th place, Ryan Smith in 5th, and that is Stephen Clark trying to sniff about that place for 5th place there. Crucially for Kenny Brewster though, he's about 4.5 seconds ahead of everyone else, so he's got that little bit of breathing room. He doesn't really need to push all that much right now, as we see Glenn Alcock languishing at the back of the field, 17 seconds behind your race leader, Andy.
Yeah, Glenn's maybe had a little bit of a coming together there, or perhaps a technical issue. That's a shame to see. Kenny Brewster, you mentioned there, he's got a little bit of a buffer between him and the drivers behind, but we know what Kenny's like. He's not going to be happy for just scraping into the finals. He's going to want to make his way up and through this pack. As we watch Daryl Adams going down to 3rd place there, Thomas Comer looks like he's muscled his way through and into the second step of the podium as things stand. It's Daryl Adams' pace looks pretty decent so far, I would say, but I just wonder if he's in that difficult position where he's chasing and he's trying to win that place back, but he's got Annie Butterworth chasing and they're desperate to get a podium as well, so he's going to be in a little bit of a tricky position, but he's got this second phase of the lap. It seems to be a little bit easier to defend, I would say.
Now, you said muscled his way in. I'd say GBH was more appropriate for what happened there on turn 1. But I don't think they'll see too much in terms of stewards on that, because they're just fighting for the place. There was no extra places lost there, and I think we're going to see Darrell Adams really, really struggling there. Now, have a look at that. Finlay Brunton has already got a time penalty on himself there. He must have run wide. He's got a 2-second penalty. So as it stands, Finlay Brunton is not going to be in the lead. He's not even going to be on the podium at this rate.
I wonder what's maybe caused that, because it's as we were talking about just before qualifying, this is a very wide circuit, the COTA one, so it is very forgiving. But I wonder if he's just taking a little bit too much of the curb there when he doesn't need to, and he's coming under a lot of pressure there as Thomas Comer tries one round the outside. Finlay says no chance. I'll be keeping hold of first place on the road, certainly at least. But now Darrell Adams looks like he's going to have a little nibble as we come into the first corner with just over 6 minutes left in this race. Throws the car out, commits himself early on the left-hand side. Finlay says he's going to stay out wide. But then there's Thomas Comer. He's getting involved as well. And Finlay has gone from first to third in little over a couple of corners. Disaster for him. Yeah,
that is a huge disaster for Finlay Brunton, and it gets worse because with that time penalty, that's actually going to drop him down to 6th or 7th place there. So, I mean, that is just a monumental disaster for Finlay Brunton there. Oh my goodness me, and he goes flying off there. I think that was Finlay Brunton, and it was. Was that a hardware failure? Because he just, the car just absolutely darted off to the left. I wonder if he just overcompensated with the weight balance and the weight transfer of that car. And this has been a night to forget for Finlay Brunton. Absolutely horribly, horribly wrong.
Well, he's got a little over 5 minutes left to book his place in the finals this weekend. He's certainly coming under even more pressure as well because he's got Kenny Brewster's made his way back up to 5th place, so he's out the danger zone. But those cars behind Finlay, yep, they're going to be sniffing around thinking, it was maybe going to be game over for them, but now they've got every chance of sneaking their way into the finals as we watch Darrell Adams now. He's in the lead of this race with Thomas Comer and Annie Butterworth both giving chase.
Yeah, this is starting to get very, very wild now. 5 minutes left to go. We're already halfway into the session. And look at this, Thomas Comer and Darrell Adams, door handle, battering these Ginetta G40s for every single pound that they're worth. And Stephen Clark now has appeared out of nowhere and thought, I'm fancying a bit of this as well. And that means that Kenny Brewster is brought back into the battle along with Ryan Smith. So it really is anybody's game right now. As we see, that is Darrell Adams trying to make a move up the inside. Outbreaks himself, and then Stephen Clark has nowhere to go, clatters into the back of him, but that means that Annie Butterworth is forced down into 4th place there, and a cracking little battle going on between those two as well.
Yeah, I don't think Stephen could have done anything differently there. It was just an unfortunate one. I don't think it was intentional either. But he's had a pretty good race here, and there's a car wide enough. Is that Annie Butterworth?
It is.
I think it is.
Oh. The curse strikes again. Annie Butterworth. Oh, is that Finlay Brunton again? Wow! And straight back on the racing line. That one's going to be not taken very, very well right now, I've got to be honest with you. And who was that? That was Andy Sedgley, who just decided to just completely straight line one of these chicanes there. So, wow, oh my goodness me! A huge moment there for one of the cars there. That was that Darrell Adams that went flying up into the air? And why do I get the feeling that was Thomas Comer may have been involved in that one?
Stephen Clark's fallen back a little bit there as well as a result of that. It'd be interesting to see what happened there. Yeah, that just kind of came out of nowhere, because I was just going to say Thomas Comer and Darrell Adams have had a really good scrap in this opening heat, but there's been some kind of coming together, and that means that Darrell's gone. Again, he's been in the lead of this race. Now he's down in 5th place.
Absolutely incredible action that we're seeing right now, and who knows who is going to actually come out on top, but Thomas Comer now a 1.5 seconds to the goods on Ryan Smith, so he's starting to get a little bit of a gap up there. We've got Darrell Adams still trying to hold on to Annie Butterworth there. Stephen Clark and Darrell Adams side by side on the entry to turn 1 there, but they're all thinking patience, maybe the better part of valor there.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the order as well. But look who's made his way onto that final step of the podium. It's Championship leader Kenny Brewster. He's gone from 7th on the grid, made his way through the pack nicely, and he'll be more than happy with that after a disappointing outing in qualifying. And I'm also looking at Finlay Brunton. He's on the cusp, 7th place as it stands on the road. Of course, he's got that 2-second time penalty, so he's not got a lot of laps left to try and stretch his way from the cars behind. So again, still under pressure here as the rest of the pack get him chasing. I think that is Kevin Barry, who's there in 8th place, followed by Andy Sedgley and Glenn Alcock in 10th. So it's maybe not over. It's not over yet for Finlay, but it's certainly going to be difficult for him. But David, I just wonder, he's gone off track twice at the exact same point as well. So I just wonder if there is maybe a technical thing that in there, and the car's just getting unsettled on the curbs, perhaps, and that's thrown that Ginetta off the road.
Yeah, we saw that during the on-board lap that I did. Now, granted, it was about 4 seconds slower than everybody else, but these cars have got a lot of inertia. They've got a lot of weight that they carry through, and it is very, very difficult to keep that weight in a straight line, especially when you've got these tight, twisty corners through Circuit of the Americas. So it's very possible that he's just lost the back end of it when the car's been driving itself. But that gap now between Thomas Comer and Ryan Smith now down to 1.1 seconds. It was 1.5 at one point, and I wonder if Thomas is just starting to ease off a little bit.
I think Ryan Smith's certainly doing his best to put him off behind him there with a flash of the lights all the way down the back straight there as well. But this is the thing. He's got upside down.
Stephen Clark has done damage to that car I didn't even know was possible in this game. Well, I think that's all she wrote for Stephen Clark then, because he can't get that car reset. That is going to be him out of the race, and indeed that drops him all the way down. So, huge drama there. Huge drama.
Well, start as we mean to go on. The first heat here in these qualifiers, and we've got cars upside down, cars flying off the circuit. So don't go anywhere, folks, because we're going to be in for some cracking racing here tonight as we ride on board with Thomas Comer now, our race leader. 1.3 seconds is the gap between him and Ryan Smith. Kenny Brewster there, 3rd place, and then it's Annie Butterworth in 4th. She's had a very good race so far. Darrell Adams down in 5th, but then look who's in 6th. It's Finlay Brunton. Little bit of a gap there, so he looks like he could well book his place in the finals this weekend.
Yeah, it could happen because he's over that 2-second limit. So here we go then. Out of the final corner for the final time, Thomas Comer is going to come across and win heat number 1 for the PlayStation 4 on race weekend number 6. What a race that was. That was just absolutely bonkers from start to finish. Hope you all enjoyed that out there. 2nd place is going to be Ryan Smith then, with Kenny Brewster an unlikely 3rd place after finishing or qualifying so lowly. We've got 4th place for Darrell Adams, 5th place for Annie Butterworth, and 6th place for Finlay Brunton, 7th place for Kevin Barry, 8th place is Andy Sedgley, and 9th place for, I was about to say Bodgemobile, but it's Glenn Alcock there, and then 10th place in a DNF for Stephen Clark. Wow, we're going to take a very, very short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we will have qualifying heat number 2.
So if we had another chance, was wrong, even once wasn't anything. Yeah, I could say that you didn't need any part of me. Yeah, maybe it's not me, you should be the one on your knees. So if we had another chance, I would never let you steal my
So, a very warm welcome back. Apologies about being a little bit later than normal. We're trying desperately to get everyone into the session. And Andy, we've only got 5 people turned up for heat number 2.
Yes.
So obviously, obviously the thing is that people can, if they've been invited, they have got up until I think it's about 3 minutes to go to join the session. But essentially, everyone qualifies. The problem with it is that they can still get penalties from this, and they can still get themselves into trouble, which is
They can.
not the best.
Yeah, I mean, you could take a train of thought that says, oh well, if 7 drivers qualify and we've only got 5 on the grid, then that's what's the point in that? However, as we all know, a racing driver doesn't want to finish in 5th place. A racing driver wants to win. So I wouldn't write this race off by any stretch of the imagination. We've got some very good drivers here as we follow Alan Gordon around the track here during qualifying. I still think that we're going to be in for some good racing throughout. But it's one of those things where, for us, the show must go on. And if you're not able to take part for whatever reason, then it's a shame not to have you with us. But we've now got 6 drivers, so somebody must have been listening there. Who's that's just joined us?
That is, let's have a look. That's Daryl. I will tell you in just a sec. That is Andy Hunter. Sorry, we drew. That has just joined us. So we've got a bit of a game of it. The thing is, as well, is that we saw from the last race as well. It's very easy to not finish the race.
Well, yes, absolutely. If the wheels are pointing at the sky, there's generally something wrong, Yes, that's the thing with racing in the summer championship. You're fighting tooth and nail, and these genetic cars, they may not be the fastest in a straight line, but they're certainly a handful. Not the easiest of cars to control whatsoever. I feel there's a lot of play in them as well, particularly as you go around sweeping corners like these ones here. And there we are. There's a little bit of a two-wheeled action there from Andy Hunter as he moves aside there to let one of his competitors through. But yeah, it's a track that has thrown up plenty of interesting racing so far. Let's put it that way.
That was a mighty political answer. Well done there. Thank you very much for that one. Right, 6 cars on the track then, 6.5 minutes left to go, just about. So essentially it is going to be a bit of an exhibition race, because as long as they finish, all of the cars will qualify for Sunday's final. So they just have to hope that they don't get themselves into any sort of mischief. Let's go and have a look at who we have got then. We have got Andy Hunter. We've got Chris Drummond. We have got Cobra 2012, which is Kieran Preedy. Stuart Anderson is Corrupted Tree. You have then got Andrew McIlvride and Alan Gordon. Yeah. Andy Sedgley is a bit upset that he should have been in Heat 2, because that would have been his best chance for getting through.
Well, yeah, I thought Andy did pretty well, actually. I thought he had a pretty good race, and I can see where he's coming from, because there's some very, very quick drivers in that opening heat. But it's part of motorsport, isn't it? It can be difficult when you're up there against some very quick drivers. But I thought Andy, I thought he handled himself very well. I thought he had a pretty good race.
Yeah, he certainly did. So I think the saying is, it is what it is, isn't it?
Yes, that's the polite. It's the polite way of saying there's not much we can do about that, unfortunately. But no, I thought he did well. Credit to him. It's never easy. It's never easy in any of these heats. We've seen countless occasions of drivers getting it wrong with a minute or 2 left in a session and left with dire consequences. So lots of drivers as well, I found has been quite interesting, have been saying when they're competing in this SMRC Summer Championship, they've said that the pressure of competing in either the heats or the finals is even more than what they would normally experience when they're racing for real at the SMRC. They find that there's so many factors at play. Some people have said it's because they know there's lots of people watching live. Some people have said it's maybe because they're competing at home and they've got family watching as well, or maybe supporting them or otherwise when they're watching when they're competing. And I thought that's a really, really interesting aspect of this all, David, how drivers are wired in when they're behind the wheel of the car in real life, completely focused, and then come in here and it's a totally different game.
I think it's also a little bit of unfair pressure that's put onto them. The kind of expectation that racing drivers are automatically going to be good at sim racing, but then you've also got the other half of the audience who just love seeing somebody fail. It's a very, very unfortunate split that you've got. But the thing is that, you know, it's amazed me how quickly that these real life drivers do take to it once they do learn to adapt a little bit, and how much they enjoy the pressure, how much they enjoy the you know, like the presentation standards and the things that we're able to do. And it's almost like we're able to make it a bigger thing than it actually is, because any other week it would just be a couple of guys in a random Project Cars 2 lobby, but now we're able to make it into an esports event. It just makes it a little bit more pressure and a little bit more worth fighting for, if that makes sense.
Definitely, you know, this has been a great addition to the SMRC activities. I think it's been a great way to bring everybody together. It's been a great way for not just our members, of course, but for people who are perhaps spectators or just want to get involved and join in the action and race against some of our drivers who compete in lots of different championships. It's been brilliant. It's been great to be part of it as well. And the great thing about this second heat, yes, we've only got 6 cars taking part, I should say, but the lap times are tumbling down. Look, there's not too much separating, and I believe that's Andrew McIlwright, who is currently on pole position with a 143.2. So very, very quick time. And in fact, I can tell you, because I've been sitting here with a notepad, that is the quickest time so far here tonight. I'm sitting, I'm wanting to get an idea of just how quick our drivers are going, because I get a sense that as the night wears on, and you're perhaps one of the drivers that's competing a little bit later on, you've got lots of time to watch everybody else, look at their lines, look at how they're taking corners, of course. So sometimes when you're a little bit later on, it can work in your favour.
Certainly can. So 2.5 minutes left to go in this second qualifying session. You may have noticed I was quite quiet there. I was having a little bit of chocolate, trying to get away with it, but it never happened.
Right, hold on. What chocolate are you having? Then that's a big question, because see if it's dairy milk or something. I'm not having that. It better be Lindt or something decent.
It's no, we're on the dairy milk medley.
Geez,
I had it lovingly handed to me from my fiance, so yeah, I'm not going to be complaining at that one. Nor is Andrew McIlvright going to be complaining at being pole position at the moment. Fastest lap of the evening so far with a 143.281, and even faster still, Alan Gordon, 142.966. Wow,
cracking time there from Alan. Yeah, over 0.3 of a second quicker than the fastest other car in second place. A really, really good time there from Alan. As he's got that car dialed in, that's for sure, making his way around this never-ending Silverstone-inspired part of the lap. And then we dart off to the left here to this new national configuration, just hopping over those curbs there, getting the car dialed in, keeping it on the right-hand side here as we swoop round towards the final couple of corners. Really, really good time from him. They're very impressed, and of course he'll be very keen to take that pace into Heat 2 in just over a minute's time.
That's more than a qualifying time. That's a marker that's been set down by Alan Gordon, and I'm really looking forward to see what sort of pace that he can put down. Cormac Patterson, thank you very much, buddy. It was he was asking how my birthday was on Sunday. It was absolutely fantastic, buddy. Had a fantastic day. 37 years young, and I'm slowly becoming more and more antisocial, and it's lovely. I really, really enjoyed it. But really, this whole lockdown thing has it's changed all of us. I mean, we've all become very different people, but I've just realised how much I like my own company, and I'll put up with Gail's company, my wonderful fiance. We are our own support bubble, and the rest of the outside world is Nah, you guys can all do what you like. It's all good. Alan Gordon, 142.966 then, way off at the pole position. And yeah, I don't think that Andy Hunter is going to have anything to answer to for that, because he's sitting down there with a 204.512. And then Andrew McIlvray there still 143.281. And that is going to be all she wrote. But maybe Andrew McIlvray can fire a last salvo just now. He's very, very loose just now coming out of the final corner. It's a drive up the hill on Andy. What was it you said it was? A 13% gradient is on that hill, or was it 11?
Yeah, I think it's 11%. Yeah, and it's certainly one of those corners as well, I think, David, where very, very tight, a tenth of a second between the pair. Wow.
Sorry, you were saying there.
No, I just think it's. I think turn one. So much of racing's all about, of course, hitting the apex, getting the car nice and smooth. I honestly don't think turn one hitting the apex is essential here, because there's so much space, and I think it's more about hitting the curb on the outside.
I thought you were going to say
important.
The car on the outside.
well, I've got a decent rating in this game. I'll have, my safety rating is I think I was 18-14 at the highest. I was in C class or something like that. So I'm a clean driver. I like to race fair. There's an A-class driver there as well, of course. Kieran Preedy, fair play to him.
Yep, he is down in third place, but taking pole position, Alan Gordon from Andrew McIlvray, Kieran Preedy in third, with Stuart Anderson in fourth, Chris Drummond in fifth, and then at the back of the grid is Andy Hunter. Oh my. Right, pace-wise, you've got to think Alan Gordon has got this one, but I mean, still just 1/10 off of Andrew McIlvray. We will have all those questions answered. They've got certainly everything to gain, but also quite a lot to lose on this race here. The lights come on at COTA for the final PlayStation 4 race of the night, and it's a great start from Alan Gordon, an even better start there from Stuart Anderson, I think that was, who tries to make his way up in towards third place there. What a start though from Alan Gordon. Let's keep an eye further back as we've got a little bit of contact. Andrew McIlvray, and then it is on the outside there, Kieran Preedy forced down into fourth place. We've got Chris Drummond up into third, and Stuart Anderson has to languish back there in fifth place. But here's your two leaders then, separated by just 0.2 of a second, Andy.
Yeah, really good start there. I think. Oh,
what happened to Alan Gordon? He's gone to the wrong circuit. That's what he's done. He got completely lost and ended up going away to the full GP circuit.
Oh, do you know what? It's easy done. That is easy done, honestly.
Oh dear. Well, right, Andrew McIlvray, the floor is yours, sir. What are you going to do with it? Alan Gordon back up to third already. He's going to be chasing down Andrew McIlvray, but that's a bit of an oopsie, isn't it?
Honestly, I think it's I think that is see with circuits like this, because it's not a traditional runoff area. There's lots of tarmac and roundabout. It's very easy just to go. Yeah, absolutely. That first sector, because it's weaving left and right, and you're letting the momentum of the car just kind of take you through the corners, so to speak. You can just it's instinct. How many times do you think of has Alan gone round this full Grand Prix configuration? That is so easy to do. But he's not lost too much time, to be fair to him. He's right hot on the heels here of Chris Drummond as they make their way around for the second time, coming up the hill now and into the left-hander. I think he's just sitting back and thinking better of it. Looks like a little late move in, but Chris Drummond's got enough about him to hold on to second place for now.
What a battle we've got going on between Kieran Preedy and Stuart Anderson. They were side by side for about 4 corners there, and that was fantastic to see. But Alan Gordon then still in third place, trying to get the better of second place there of Chris Drummond. It's not going to happen. But look at this. This is a brilliant little battle we've got going on right now. Kieran Preedy desperately trying to hold off on Stuart Anderson. Stuart Anderson's going to have the run there, but thinks better of it. And they two are starting to catch up on Alan Gordon here as well. So Alan could be going from 0 to 0 in the space of 2 laps.
Could well be, because it's 2 very quick drivers behind him as well. Let's not forget. So they're having a nice little scrap. But again, it puts even more pressure on Alan Gordon to try and make his way through. But it's Chris Drummond, I have to say, in second place. I think he's had a very good start to this race. did everything right that he possibly could, and I think he's certainly looking decent value for that second step in the podium so far in this heat.
Something just doesn't seem right with Alan Gordon right now. As we see, what's happened to Stuart Anderson? He's dropped off the face of the earth there, probably a slow down penalty. I wonder, because there's quite a few drivers that have experienced a bug in this game. As we see, 6th place has dropped out. Now, normally I wouldn't mind about that, but that means that they don't finish the race. That was... who was in 6th place? That would have been
I think that was Andy Hunter. Yeah, Andy Hunter's dropped off.
Andy's not going to join us on the final.
Oh, what a shame. What a shame. I wonder what's happened there. Maybe just been a disconnect, an issue with the internet connection, perhaps. Very, very unusual. But yeah, that means we've only got 5 cars who are all guaranteed a place in Sunday's final.
Let's hope nothing bad happens. But yeah, Alan Gordon's pace has just fallen off the edge of a cliff here. He was doing 142s, 144 now. Bear in mind that was in traffic, but we'll see what he can do across the line here, because Andrew McIlvright is just streaking away right now. He's really, really got the bit between his teeth. And to be fair, maybe this is where he's going to make his most time right now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's got a clear track in front of him. There's a good gap between him and Alan Gordon as well. And credit to Alan, he's made his way back through the field. Chris Drummond, of course, dropped down from 2nd to 4th place, so he's had he's not had the best of laps. But you know, I think Andrew's a very quick driver, and he's proven that here, because look at his pace, over 2 seconds a lap or so, towards some of the other cars on the grid. So he's had a very, very good couple of laps. But as we well know, with 5 minutes left on the clock, it is not all over yet.
No, it certainly isn't, and anything can and usually does happen, is one of my favourite quotes from the legendary commentator. But oh, look at Kieran Preedy having a fight it out with Chris Drummond there. Chris Drummond loses out all of that time there, and that puts him up into to the danger zone with Stuart Anderson there. Now that lap there from Andrew McIlvright, 144.764. So Andrew in a clear track, he's having problems as well, and Alan Gordon's still faster than him. So, this is getting a bit tight, because the pressure now is all on Andrew McIlvright here.
Yeah. I mean, Andrew's 4th in the championship on 95 points at the moment. Alan Gordon is in 10th place on 61 points. So Alan's has demonstrated that he has absolutely got the pace here. So this is a massive opportunity for him to really get a good haul of points and make his way up the championship standings. But yeah, that gap, 3.2 seconds with just over three minutes or so to go. So Andrew's not had the best of laps there. And again, if you're dropping a tenth or two, maybe half a second at a push, you can get away with it. But if you're dropping a couple of seconds, he's had a bit of an incident, and that gives Alan every opportunity to reel him in and look to try and make a move.
Yeah, it's also about that visual gap as well, that real momentum, the sort of drive that you get when you see another driver, the motivation. You have to really, really push. You maybe push the car a little bit more than it's used to or able to do. But certainly that gap coming down, not as much as it was coming down last lap, but we're riding on board here with Alan Gordon. The gap, in fact, has gone up very, very slightly to 3.3 seconds. We'll see what it was as they come across the line. I don't think, barring a mistake from Andrew McIlvright, I don't think we're going to see Alan Gordon taking the win here. But Andrew McIlvright goes across there, 144.152, and it is a 144.327 from Alan Gordon. So it swings and roundabouts, really. The cars are kind of just trading tenths here and there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're putting a 142 on the board, you've got some serious pace under your belt. But you don't need to be pumping in lap times like that, lap after lap, when there's not long left in the session. You know you've booked your place in the final as it stands. But what he does want to do, of course, is lay down a marker for the finals on Sunday, because he wants to say to everyone else in the PlayStation Championship, look at the pace I've got, and I want to. I want to go in here and get a good result on Sunday. So yeah, he's certainly had a good race, but again with a gap of about 3 seconds from Alan Gordon, barring a disaster, he should really have this one won. But I just wondered if Kieran Preedy could perhaps make his way past Alan Gordon and into second place, because he's just slowly but surely reeling him in, slowly but surely. Look at his lap times, he's taking a couple of tenths off him here and there. And is it probably going to come round for the final time or so, I would have thought, there's every chance he could go on and take second place here.
Yeah, certainly could be. He's inching closer, as you've pointed out, although I think the gap is now starting to eke out a little bit on the favour of Alan Gordon right now, because that gap was 0.8 of a second. It's now 1.1 second. Just from looking at the timing screen, it looks to be getting even further. So don't be surprised if we see Alan Gordon getting a faster lap time than Kieran Preedy this time round. But to start his final lap, across the line comes Andrew McIlvride, 1:43.871. So the pace is back, 1:43.644 for Alan Gordon and a 1:43.947. So the top three have now decided to light the touch paper, and they are really pushing right now.
They absolutely are. It's been a bit of a roller coaster event, I think, this one for Alan Gordon. He's certainly got the pace, but he's made a show of it. Credit to him. But yes, this has been an interesting one for me, because we're seeing, as we were talking about earlier on, the lap times are beginning to tumble down now, and it is a track where I think towards the latter end of the lap, it is difficult to get a move done. I think you've got to really, that first corner.
I'm going to jump in just for a second, Andy. Have a look at the time there, because that time was 3 seconds. It's now down to 1.4 seconds between Andrew McIlvride and Alan Gordon. Now, also, Alan Gordon's got a 2-second penalty. So that's going to put Alan Gordon down to third. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but wow, this is getting a bit fighty towards the end.
Yeah, and then again, I wonder if it's just a little track limits then. He's just pushing the car, using all of the track and maybe just a little bit more, and that's what's resulted in that penalty there. But again, Kieran Preedy will say, thanks very much, I'll take second place from you gladly. But yeah, it's I think Andrew's maybe just easing off, just bringing that car home now. He knows he's got enough in the tank as they come round. Looks like the final corner here. And yes, it's been another interesting Heat 2 here in the championship.
Yep, certainly has. Andrew McIlvride comes across the line in to win Heat number 2. Alan Gordon is going to come across in second place, but going to be demoted immediately to third place, as Kieran Preedy takes second place then after penalties. Alan Gordon in third is going to be Stuart Anderson in fourth place, and then at the back of the grid is going to be Chris Drummond. So there we go then. We're going to take a very short break, and when we return, we'll be back with the Xbox for their first heat of the night.
So to speak, you're quick to change your mind. glance. Bring me back to life. If we had another chance, I would never let you steal my glance. Bring me back to life.
So we are back then, and yeah, it's a bit frustrating. Again, we've got another heat that's undersubscribed. 10 were due to be taking part in this one. We've only got, I think we've only got, what's that, about 4 or 5 that are actually in this one. Let's have a look at who we have got due to come into this one then. I find it be easier just showing it once we actually get into the session itself, which is just loading up. Here we go. So another short race, Andy. 4 out of the 10 drivers here.
4 out of the 10 drivers, but the top 3 qualify. So there is still there's still something to play for here. As we're watching Andrew McKinley making his way out of the pits, he's a driver currently 9th in the championship standings. We've got Josh McNabb, who's a quick driver as well, 4th in the standings. I'm just looking through another couple of the drivers were due to join us in a couple of the other heats. But yeah, it's Tony Logie, as we see there, 183 points. He's had a very good championship so far. Cameron Evans, though, has been, again, a driver hot on his heel. James Black sitting there, 3rd place on 100 points. Then it's Josh McNabb, 84. Andrew Gilman in 76. Aidan Wilson has dropped down to 6th place after a a good start to his campaign. He's now 6th place in 75 points. And then we've got Bryn Hawkins, Cormac Patterson, Andrew McKinley, and John Duncan rounding out the top 10. So the Xbox Championship, I feel, has been on a bit of a journey, I think it's fair to say, David. And what's really impressed me, I think, particularly over the last couple of events, is just how it's just the consistency that we're seeing from some of the drivers, the pace, the lap times that they're pumping in has been very, very impressive. And I think when we look at esports in the whole, sometimes people think, oh, PC is where it's at, but a lot of these drivers here are proving that that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what it is that I think has happened here, is that they've seen that Cormac Patterson is racing in Heat 3, and they've seen that there's no point racing unless Cormac's in the heat. You know, it just doesn't make it a valid heat. So yeah, I am quite hopeful for the rest of the other heats, because we have got some big names in Heat 2 and Heat 3, but it does seem a formality. But out of the 4 drivers that are here, I don't want to say who I think is going to qualify at this one, because they're 4 very fast drivers.
No, they certainly are, and one of them here who we're on board with just now, Angus Scrivener, he's one again, certainly one to watch. It's sometimes, honestly, I think when you're in a small lobby like this, it can be more difficult, because you know there's going to be one of you missing out. So it means that these drivers are going to be fighting tooth and nail, using every inch of the track to try and book their place in the final. And as we've got just over 7 minutes left in this session, we've not got a lap time on the board yet, interestingly enough. Perhaps this time round we'll start to see some lap times appearing. And I still think I take the view that there's plenty of action and plenty up for grabs ahead of the finals this weekend.
Keir Riley is asking, have I been hitting the drink? My voice has dropped a few octanes. You mean octaves? No, what it is, I've got a dry throat. I've got the window is closed tonight. Normally I have the window open, and I've got a glass of. This is what happens when you hit 37. Is you go from drinking like glasses of Jaeger to a glass of an unknown Tesco sugar-free fizzy berry drink. So that is the excitement that we've got going on tonight, and I think it's actually causing a little bit of havoc with my voice. So never mind, my voice sounds a little laggy. Right, okay, well, I'll go and have a look into that, because that could be a little audio problem. I'll double check that. But at the moment, yeah, no time's getting yet, Andy.
A little bit strange, but now we're coming on. There's the first time they're coming in now from, I believe that's Andrew McKinley there with a 143.4, which is a very decent time to get on there. Then we've got Table Puma, that's Ian there with a 146. That's, again, he'll be looking to improve on that one, 3 seconds off the pace. But yeah, I think it's a little over 5 minutes left in this session. I would be expecting some additional times to be going in there and a little bit more pace. Yeah, so let's see how it goes.
Sorry. No, I just want to jump in. I've got no idea what is going on with my voice. So you can hear it normally in Discord, Andy. I've just had a listen to the stream, and I sound like I'm going through puberty. It's quite impressive, actually. So what I'll do, Andy, I'll give you the stream for just a second, and I'll go and try and restart the audio device.
Okay. All right, okay, and we're riding on board here with Angus Scrivener. He's one of the only drivers who doesn't have a time on the board yet, and as the clock's ticking down with 4 minutes 50 or so left in this session. So the pressure's going to be on. Gets that car a little bit unsettled now as he makes his way around the Istanbul-inspired section of the lap, I believe. And Angus is going to be keen to get a representative time on there, because I think that's part of the battle when, particularly, there's not a lot of time left in the session. If you can just get a lap time on the board, you can work from there. But when there's not a lot of time left in the session and you've not got anything to show for it, that just adds another additional element of pressure, which is the last thing you need when you're trying to get yourself into the finals.
It's quite a claim of fame, that, is it? The Istanbul-inspired section of the track there. I quite like that, but 4 minutes left to go, and it's still. Let's see who we've got then, because at the top then, Andrew McKinley, 143.359. Josh McNabb, 143.966. So Andy, this is very, very tight stuff.
Yeah, it is. Right, here we go. We've got following Andrew McKinley there, 143.3 is a very, very decent time on the board, I have to say. I think Alan Gordon did a 142.9 in qualifying in the last heat. So, yeah, there's been some pretty impressive lap times getting produced by some of these drivers. I think I would. It's difficult to say with a gap of 0.6 of a second. I mean, that is quite a statement, I have to say. You know, usually when the first 2-3 drivers, there's a couple of tenths splitting them here and there, but to have a gap of over half a second is very, very impressive. So well done to Andrew. But of course, as we all know, he's got to replicate that kind of pace as we go into the actual race itself.
Yep, 3 minutes left to go, and I'm still not fixed the audio problem. So again, apologies. It is a bizarre. Honestly, so what happens, Andy, is if you listen to the stream, it sounds like I'm talking in treacle like that, and it's only my voice. Your voice is absolutely fine, and you obviously, I'm presuming you're hearing me absolutely fine in Discord. So yeah, I'll go and take myself away for a minute or so and try and fix that. And yeah, Andy, it's all yours, buddy.
Excellent. As we ride on board with Andrew McKinley here, just over 2 and a bit minutes left in this session. Andrew's, of course, got the fastest time of any driver so far with a 143.3 as he makes his way up along the back straight into the first corner here. That tricky left-hander, very easy for the car to get unsettled. He takes a very narrow entry into that corner, taking a little bit of the curb and then some. He now makes his way around the sweeping right-hander, got that car nice and settled. And again, these Genettas, as we know, it's all about just keeping them nice and calm. If you get these cars unsettled, you'll be punished. But Andrew's done a good job of just getting the maximum performance. Takes maybe a little bit too much of the curb there. That might have cost him a little bit of time. You can try and straight line that section as much as you can, and then he gets a little bit of a respite as we go onto the straight here now. So that gives him time just to compose himself for another tricky, hard-braking left-hander. He makes his
2-2. 1-2. Hello. Right.
Yeah, as we come into a bit of a track, this track, it almost reminds me of the stadium section of Hockenheim.
Yeah.
How it just kind of flows one corner into another, and then you've got this one for me is always a nightmare because it's this kind of double left-hander. It's very, very deceptive, and you can easily try and get sucked into that first apex when really it's that second one you've got to hit before you go around this long, never-ending right-hander.
Yeah, for me, the whole track's a nightmare. It's it just isn't happening. But at the moment, it looks like Andrew McKinley and Josh McNabb are the only two drivers, really, that are in contention. I was expecting quite a bit of a fight to go with Tapable Puma and to go with... who have we got in fourth place? Sorry. Angus Scrivener. Angus really, really struggling. Let's not do that ever again. Thank you, Cormac. Apparently my voice is fixed now. It's amazing what happens when you unplug and plug back in the microphone. So Andy, poor Andy didn't even hear any difference whatsoever. It was just yeah. It's the normal madness, is it?
Well, you know, that's the joy of technology, isn't it? Turn it on and turn it back off and turn it back on again, and that's your job done, isn't it? It's amazing. You know, we've got all this lovely kit. We're bringing you some fantastic coverage of this championship, and sometimes just turn it on and off again, and that makes it work brilliant.
Yeah, I just had a quick listen into it myself, and that is indeed working fine. 19 seconds left to go in the session. Andrew McKinley then 143.359. Remember, it's the top three drivers that go through. Thomas O'Connor, there was no effect that was on it. It was literally, I couldn't figure out. Had to plug it into a new USB port that I hadn't previously used because some of my USB ports are playing up, so I'm kind of worried that that's something else, but that is by the by. We're back and it's good to go. Andrew McKinley then takes pole position, 143.359 from Josh McNabb, then 143.966. But remember, it's now going to be who takes that last place between Ian Menzies and Angus Scrivener there in fourth place. So it might be 5 seconds off the pole position, but that matters not come race time.
Oh, 100%. You know, if you can make a good start, as we've seen a couple of drivers do so far in these heats, you can make a good start, make yourself into that third and final position, then you just need to, it's particularly that second phase of this lap, it's very easy to defend, I feel. So if you can just get your car dialed in nicely, every chance of holding on and booking your place in the final. So it's yeah, as you say, the time's perhaps not the quickest, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Oh, like that. That was quite profound there, Andy. That's some. I'm gonna have that one put in tapestry on the wall.
Oh, dear.
Oh, love it. Right, so there we go. That is qualifying done and dusted for heat number 1 of the Xboxes here. Round number 6 in the SMRC eSports Racing Summer Championship live on Facebook and YouTube. It's David Christie and Andy Alston, and a slightly smaller grid than we're used to, but nonetheless, it's going to be an awesome race. I was panicking there because it did jitter, it did freeze, but that's the Xbox just doing its own little thing, and away we go. Oh, and that's a terrible start there for Josh McNabb. He's been caught sleeping, and he's all the way down into 4th place there. So what looked like a certainty has now gone into absolute disaster. Oh, there's contact as well for the leader there. And it seems to have paused just a second. There we go. We're back with the action there. Andrew McKinley then takes the lead from Angus Scrivener. And I'm going to have a little bit of a pause here, Andy, because I do think we're having some issues here.
Yeah, and that's a shame, because we had a really good start there from Angus Scrivener, and we spoke a bit about the importance of just getting away nicely. He's gone from 4th to 2nd, and that's a real shame, because he made a great getaway. However, we didn't have the same for a couple of other drivers, so credit to him. He got away off the line very, very well, but we'll have to wait and see how things unfold.
Yep, we'll take a very, very short break, and we'll be back with you in just a couple of minutes' time.
I would never let you steal my glance. Bring me back to life. If we had another chance, I would never let you steal my glance. Bring me back to life.
Right, apologies about the delay there, folks. We are back. Callum, we had a slight technical issue. We are restarting the race, and because we've got another 3 races to get through, what we're doing is we're going to reduce the qualifying time to 5 minutes. There are only 4 cars on the grid, so in the interest of time, we'll let them get a couple of quick laps in and just head back out onto the race so that we don't lose too much more time for the rest of the races. So the car's making their way out just now, and yeah, Andy, that was not quite what we wanted to see.
No, but I think Angus Scrivener, who we're following here, certainly showed his intentions because he got a cracking start there.
Yeah, he was off to the moon.
Yeah, really, really impressive. So, I mean, you know, the drivers have got 5 minutes here. They know they're either going to be on the first or second row of the grid. So this is more about just getting back into the zone again. That's just getting a feel for the car again, getting a feel for it. As we're seeing a couple of the drivers we even trying to get a little bit of temperature in the tyres. And I think that the focus here, with it being just a 5 minute session, is just get a couple of extra laps and just get into the swing of it and get the head ready for the heat here in the Xbox Championship.
It could be an argument for keeping 5 minute sessions for the remainder of the qualifying heats, but yeah, we'll see what happens. They will get their normal allowance. The thing is, as well, with just the 4 cars, it really makes no difference where you qualify because it's all about that start.
No, absolutely. You're either first row of the grid or second, you know, so the impact really is minimal. You could argue, you know, would you rather be, you know, on the racing line or not, perhaps?
Yeah.
And I think with this, you know, this is one of the few circuits that does run anti-clockwise. So, yeah, I think like it's all about just getting through turn 1 on this track. You know, we know how challenging, we know how tight it is. So it's very easy, I think, if you're shown on the outside, that you could just be hung out to dry, because this is such a wide circuit, and that does compromise you as you make the run downhill and through the sweeping corners, because straight away you're playing catch up.
Yeah, you certainly are. So 2 minutes 58 seconds left to go, and they'll probably get 2 laps in. I think that's what they'll likely get. They're just starting their first hot lap just now. And it really is all about getting that momentum and getting that pace through the remainder of the lap. Andrew Gilman, yep, absolutely. It will be 10-minute qualifying sessions for the other heats. No need to worry about that. It's obviously, if it happens with the other heats where they disconnect, then obviously we'll reduce them down to 5 minutes as well. The big contributing factor, as I said, with this heat is because there's only 4 cars, 3 cars qualify, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference, unless there was, like, say, 10 cars, where I think that would disadvantage quite a lot of cars. Oh my goodness me, who was that? Was that Josh McNabb that was facing the wrong way? And it was. And yeah, that's not the best, is it?
Oh, certainly not. And it's I'd say a little bit uncharacteristic of Josh as well, because he's normally quite a neat and tidy driver. But again, with only a 5-minute session here, why not push that generator to the limit? You know, if you make a mistake or so here, who cares? Because as I say, as we've been talking about, the impact of qualifying here with 4 drivers is minimal. So why not push that car? And just explore the limits or the boundaries of the grip, as we all love to we all love to hear the.
That was a very masculine grip there.
Well, we all like to hear the tyres scream, don't we? Let's be honest, you know. I think that's one of the best parts of motorsport. You know, I love going up to Knockhill and just hearing the tyres squeal, and you know, Josh is certainly exploring the maximum potential of that car. That's for sure. Just over a minute left in this session. Again, no time's on the board, but yeah, I think it's you know, I honestly think we are in for a very, very interesting race here, David. You know, 4 cars on the grid, but only 3 will book their place in Sunday's final.
Yeah, and there's 4 fast drivers. So Josh McNabb there, it's all or nothing now for Josh, because this is his last lap to qualify. So he scuffed it up on that last lap there. Andrew McKinley 1:43.059, so that was even faster than his previous qualifying lap. So talk about, you know, all or nothing, and Andrew's absolutely shown up there.
Yeah, very, very good time. You know, that's like a real statement of intent there as well, I think. And see, the thing is, I think Andrew could go even quicker than that, to be honest. I think he's got that, and he's, you know, and his capabilities. Josh McNabb, of course, is another quick driver. As we follow him round for the last time here, he does have Angus Scrivener in front of him. I wonder if he'll just be able to try and get a little bit of slipstream off the back of that blue Geneta, and every 10th or 2 adds up, of course, doesn't it? But yeah, it's I honestly, I really do think we're going to be in for a very, very interesting heat here in the Xbox.
Oh, almost side by side between Angus Scrivener and Josh McNabb here on qualifying, so that's going to have cost Josh a little bit there. Ian Menzies decides to cut itself into the pit lane. He's had enough of qualifying right now. There's not too many corners left to go. Andrew Gilman wants to know if we've got any predictions on any of the other heats tonight, Andy.
Ooh,
well,
Heat 2, we've got some interesting drivers in that one. James Black, one to watch. Andrew Gilman, of course. Stu Wyness, a very quick driver. John Glover as well. And then in the final heat in the Xbox Championship, well, we've got Cormac Patterson in there, Tony Logie, Aidan Wilson in there. He'll be very keen to get back to the pace that he showed earlier in this championship. So yeah, there's lots of drivers to keep an eye on between now and the end of the heats here tonight.
Here we go then. The session is about to begin. The cars are syncing themselves up. It looks a little bit better. I'm touching the desk just in case, because here we go then. Race number 1 here and the Xbox qualifiers. And only 3 of these 4 cars are going to qualify. It's a much better start for all of the cars now. Josh McNabb decides to jink it one way, then the other, but he's never going to make a move on for first place there. It's currently Andrew McKinley from Josh McNabb, and then in third place is Angus Scrivener and Ian Menzies at the back of that group as well. And remember, all of the 3 drivers that are going through have to finish the race.
Yes, much better start there from Josh McNabb. Certainly learned his lesson from that. The kind of false start race that we had. Angus Scrivener, though, again making places up to third there, and he is currently on the bubble as he's got Ian chasing him here, looking to try and make a move on this opening lap. But yeah, Josh McNabb, I just wonder if does he stay put, or does he try and push the win, because he knows that Andrew McKinley is a very, very quick driver. And as you say, David, it's just about making sure that you finish this one if you've got a little bit of a gap between the cars in front. And there is Angus Scrivener. He's now down to 4th place. He's made his way through on this opening lap.
A little bit of push to pass there from Angus Scrivener. That was more than a little bit naughty. So Ian Menzies is doing well to hold on to this place right now from Angus Scrivener, and Angus is going to fight tooth and nail. You've got to think, as for Josh McNabb, racers are going to race. I think Josh is absolutely going to push for that position.
Yeah, Josh is a very, very quick driver, and again, as we know, yes, these are the heats, and yes, you're looking to just get yourself within within in the Xbox in this instance within the top 3, PlayStation within the top 7, but you still want to win the race. There is a race to be had here, and there's the bragging rights that come with it, particularly as you try and take that momentum into the finals this weekend. So yeah, I mean, I who wants to settle for second or third place? You want to go out and win, don't you? But it's Andrew McKinley who's in the driving seat at the moment.
It's not going to be either of these two winning the race at the current pace, because they're 4.5, 5 seconds off the leader off of the first lap. So this is hell hath no fury right now. Angus Scrivener absolutely wants to qualify for this final, and you'll excuse us if we take the focus on this, as we see Ian Menzies going a little bit wide at turns 4 and 5 there, but he lives to tell the tale and starts to stretch a little bit of a gap there over Angus Scrivener. Josh McNabb now 1.2 seconds behind Andrew McKinley. I'm laughing because I'm hearing Andrew Gilman saying that it's like Plato and Nail, and Cormac Patterson comes out with that classic line, "Barry, tell him to stop."
Oh man. Tell you what, the chat has been brilliant through this championship, man.
The one thing that's kept me sane during this entire championship. I absolutely love it.
Oh, excellent! No, I mean, it's Ian's. I thought as we were making our way through the little kind of the little chicane that you try and straight line, basically, I thought Ian had a little bit too much of a dab in the brakes, and I thought Angus was going to get a run on one straight there, but he's managed to pull away. There's just a gap of what's that? Oh, not a lot in it, in all honesty, is it? But
yeah, it's about a
second or so. Yeah, I mean, that's Angus is still within striking range, and again, 6 minutes or so left in this session, so don't count him out just yet.
Oh, and they're carrying it on in chat. Be careful, Jason. Be careful. That was actually quite good. I'm quite pleased with that one. Right. Oh, look at that. Ian Menzies going very, 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 very wide into turn 2 there. And that brings Angus Scrivener right back into it. Oh, this is a proper little battle. They've got... Oh, is there contact there? No, he just managed to squeeze in front of him. But Angus Scrivener is so desperate to qualify for this weekend.
Oh, he absolutely is. Still hot on his heels. He's brought that gap all the way back down. But I have to say, David, I've just got TOCA Touring Car Championship in my head now. That PlayStation game. I just can't get that out of my head now. I used to love that game.
TOCA 2 and run about with a tank round Snetterton. Those were the days, boys. Those were the days. Right, okay, well we've got a race going on. We've got about 3 minutes so to... Oh, but look at that. As Ian Menzies now loses out the place to Angus Scrivener. New BTCC game announced. What do you make of that?
Yes, very, very good, and long overdue, I think, as well, to get a BTCC game in there, and it'll be good to drive a very, very eclectic mix of cars, of course, that we've got in the championship. Yeah, so I think that's brilliant. It's a really good addition to the more motorsport games, the better, I say. And I just hope that it's if it can lean more towards the side of sim, I think they've won a watch. If they try and go down the arcade route, I think maybe less so, but I think there's a real demand to go out there and get a proper touring car game. How many times have we been crying out for it for years? So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to that one, I have to say. And another game with Not Kill on the calendar as well. So that'll be decent.
Project Cars 3 coming out at the end of the month, and you get to return to Not Kill every time. Ian Menzies just cannot do turn 1 of COTA. That is just, it's not happening for him because Angus Scrivener gets brought back in. Now, personally, I'm more of the opinion of yourself and Andrew Gilman in chat as well. I'd like to see a sim-style TOCA get a BTCC game, but when you remember back to TOCA 1 and TOCA 2, they weren't sims at all. They were arcade racers, and it's a couple of ex-guys from Codemasters who have set up this new studio that it's been awarded to, I think, Motorsport Games. So we see Angus Scrivener firing up the inside there. Great move, and that's going to try and put Ian Menzies round the outside there. Wow. Yeah,
this has been a great battle, David. This has been brilliant. We spoke about this, and on the way in, we could say, oh, it's only 4 cars, but we've been treated to arguably some of the best action of the night so far here. You know, we've got Angus Scrivener fighting tooth and nail, trading places with Ian Menzies as they make their way again around the final part of this lap. I think what's maybe hurting Ian here is we've got 3 corners on this national layout that are very similar to turn 1. You know, you've got that little part when you've got when you come through the kind of false chicane where you just try and straight line it. You've got that one there, and then you've got that last corner, and jeez. Aye, that was an interesting line to say the least. And of course you've got the last corner as well. There are 3 very similar corners, and that's where Angus seems to be stronger and seems to be pulling away with 2 and a bit minutes left in this race.
Yep, the gap up between first and second place now to 1.5 seconds. Also, what we haven't seen is the fact that Ian Menzies has got a 3-second penalty. That's good night and all she wrote, as far as I'm concerned, for Ian Menzies. Now, that puts him out of contention with Angus Scrivener unless he can get a 3 seconds ahead, and I just can't see that one happening.
Andrew Gilman saying there on Facebook chat, cut the chicane, it's only a second penalty. Brilliant.
Yeah, gain 3 seconds and lose a second at the penalty. That sounds like a plan. I love the chat in this place, honestly. Yeah, they're both talking about the new oh my god, I can't even speak tonight. BTCC game and Project Cars 3 are going to be really arcade based. Project Cars 3, without a doubt, is going to be an arcade sim. Oh, and that's it. That is all it is. Ian Menzies has left the server and thrown in the towel, and that means it's Josh McNabb and Angus Scrivener then that go through. So, right, let's have a wee bit of chinwag then, because we've got a minute and a half. In fact, we've got about 3 minutes left now. So, yeah, Project Cars 3 will be a arcade. That's who they're going for. They're going for the Forza crowd. I think, realistically, if I'm being honest, I think BTCC will be... I think it'll be more arcadey. However, if it goes down the line of TOCA Race Driver, I'd be very happy with that, because I really, really did enjoy that game.
Yes, that was an excellent game. Yeah, that was one of the first ones I got for PC as well, I have to say. And I really liked the kind of career mode of it. I think back then it was very, very immersive. You know, I mean, you look back at it now and think, oh, surely not. But back then that was very, very good. What I really like about this deal for the BTCC is, of course, the game is scheduled for 2022. So unfortunately, we've got a little bit of time to go. But it's a multi-year license. And what we're getting as part of that is an associated eSports championship, a bespoke eSports championship for the BTCC as well. So it's not just a one-off here, David. You know, this is going to be a sustained BTCC game that we're going to get and we're going to be able to enjoy. So, absolutely brilliant news, I think, for the championship.
I'll be honest. I'll be completely honest. Oh, what's going on here? Andrew McKinley has slowed right down to let Josh McNabb through on their score. I wonder actually if they realise there's just the 3 of them and they're just having a wee bit of a battle now.
Why not? That's that. You know, 10 seconds or so to go.
This is awesome.
Why not? Yeah, and
Josh has got the brakes on. They're just messing about. Oh, do you know what it is? I bet they're slowing down just so they don't have to go and do an extra lap here.
Fair play to them. Yes.
Yeah, let's have a look here. So Josh McNabb is going to try and take the win here, and do you know what? That's still some bragging rights for Josh if he manages to take that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, Josh will be... Oh, back contact there almost.
That was a big... I think Josh is going to just have this one in the bag then. Josh McNabb is going to come across the line, is he, to win it? It's so close. My goodness me. Andrew McKinley finishes in 2nd place. 3rd place then for Angus Scrivener. And that is who goes through to the final. Right, we'll save as much time as we can. We'll be right back for race number 2. Stay with us and we'll be back very shortly.
you want to me. Maybe I was wrong, even once wasn't anything. So if we had another chance, I would never let you steal my glance. Bring me back to life. Don't dig deep like you would have a clue. All I see is how I was a fool to see my heart skip beats. Thinking about you. Whoa. I could say that you didn't need what you want to me. Maybe I was wrong, even once wasn't anything. Yeah, I could say that you didn't need any part of me. Yeah, maybe it's not me, you should be the one on your knees. So if we had another chance, I would never let you steal my If we had another chance, I would never let you steal my glance. Bring me back to life. If we had another chance, I would never let you steal my glance. Bring me back to life.
So, a very warm welcome back to the stream then. We are already halfway through the evening and we are back to the track then. And in fact, what I've just realised is I've accidentally left it on 5 minutes in the session. So you'll have to give me just a second again and we'll go and fix that. So yeah, we'll be back in just a second.
Absolutely. Not just in this heat, but of course the final heat of the evening as well. We've got some big names in that one. In terms of the session here, I think Andrew Gilman for me is one to watch. I noticed just a few minutes ago he said that his steering wheel had gone off on chat, so hopefully he's got that sorted just in time. I think Stu Vines as well, very quick driver. John Glover as well is one that's always right up there. I think again, as we were talking about earlier on, this Xbox Championship, yes, the Tony Logie's got a very decent advantage at the top of the standings, but as you make your way through the order, there's still lots to be won and lost. In terms of this session, you've got Andrew Gilman 5th place at the moment on 76 points. Aidan Wilson there back in 6th place in 75. Yeah, it's very, very interesting when you look at that table. Not a lot separating between, say, 4th place all the way down to 9th, 10th. John Duncan rounding out the top 10 and 57 points. So, Yeah, it's I've really enjoyed this championship, I have to say. I think the last couple of rounds in particular, the last couple of finals as well, have been very, very entertaining, very good to watch. And for me, the lap times across the board just seem to be getting better and better as well. So we had 4 cars in the first heat, some great racing throughout there. That just proved that we don't need to have a pack full of 15, 16 cars to get some great racing. If you've got some talented drivers who are out there scrapping to try and book their place in a final this weekend, then we're going to get some very entertaining racing, and I'm sure that Heat 2 of this Xbox Championship is going to produce more of the same.
Yep, 7 cars are on track at the moment. You can safely ignore the 8th one at the bottom because of the hurry we got. We forgot to put ourselves as a spectator, but that's absolutely fine. So 7 out of the 10 cars out on track, and this is a good chunk of the championship contenders that we've got in this one as well. We've got James Black, we saw Josh McNabb in heat number 1, and yeah, I mean it's difficult to see about this one because obviously 3 cars still qualify from this.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the pressure is on in the Xbox Championships, I have to say, and it's because we have to run those smaller groups of cars, those smaller grids for the finals. It does mean that getting your place into that event is very, very difficult. In the PlayStation, you can take a little bit more of a pragmatic approach. You can just bring that car home, get yourself in a decent qualifying position, and then it's just all about making your way through the field, trying to keep yourself out of trouble. But in the Xbox, you've got to fight tooth and nail, and what that does is means that we're treated with some brilliant racing here. So yeah, it's certainly difficult for the drivers. I do have an element of sympathy for them, but you know, I think what that does throw up is the opportunity for drivers who perhaps you know, they're looking to, they've maybe not been in the finals for whatever reason, you know, they can still make their way through here if they get a decent qualifying time on the board here in any of these heats and go and get some great points in the championship.
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on. 7 minutes left to go in the session, and it's a difficult one, right? See, if we accidentally join as a participant rather than a spectator, it gives us so much more in terms of information on the screen. So we get like the little speedo. We can actually even take the whole lot off. We even get a little map of COTA there, and it's some fantastic little tools. I just wish they were available in the spectator view as well. But at the moment, then, that is what we've got. Westate VA up at the top from Stu Winus, and Westate VA obviously is Callum Reid. But no time's been put in as of yet. They're still going through Sector 2 at the moment. What do you think we're going to see time-wise? Because it's been, 143, 142 has been the fastest one we've seen tonight.
Yeah, well, if you're in the 142s, you're really on it in terms of pace. I think if you get an early 143, I'd say that's a really decent time as well. But I think Alan Gordon in round 2 qualifying, it was a 142.9 he managed to produce. I think he was thereabouts in the race as well. Of course, he had a bit of an eventful one, but we just see there, I think that's Stu Winus on top of the timesheet at the moment with a 143.8, so a decent one in there, but again, they'll come crumbling down as the drivers get a little bit more of a feel for the track and get that banker time on the board, then they can really push and make their way up the order.
Yeah, 5 minutes left to go in the session, and it looks like Stu Winus is the man that's got the time in already. 143.857 is the time, and if I'm not mistaken, that was him doing a little bit of cross country. It is, because he's headed back into pit lane, possibly to restart his lap with just 5 minutes left to go. It's fairly spread out. 3 seconds splitting your top 6 drivers, Andy.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because we were talking earlier on about how the packs did seem to be a little bit closer bunched up. And again, with this being a relatively short lap, that is interesting to see that, I have to say. I think, and when I say short lap, I don't necessarily mean in terms of lap time, but I mean in terms of there's elements of the track where you're not necessarily pushing flat out, you're just trying to get the car through it, you know. I think... Yeah, I think if you're around about the 143s, 140, you're there or thereabouts. But there does seem to be quite a gap here. But of course, again, this is maybe just the drivers just pushing and trying to find of course, the track limits that we've spoken about a lot in this championship, David. It's about knowing the the maximum that you can get out of the car, but it's also known about the maximum that you can get out of the track as well, because that's where tenths can be won and lost.
Yeah, it certainly is. Look at James Black just coming out of the pits and on cold tyres, so you can see the difference that makes to the ability for these cars to be able to come round. But I'm still surprised at 3.5 minutes left to go that Stu Wyness is the only man in the 143s, and we're talking a significant gap down to the rest of the drivers here.
No, absolutely, it is a strange one. I mean, there's a couple of names in there I would expect to be up in the pace a wee bit as well. So yeah, I mean, look, there's still plenty of time to get a couple of laps on the boat here, I think. So Stephen Bramwell here we're riding on board with at the moment, 4th place with a 1:45.9. So yeah, it's interesting, but again, he's on that cusp, and we're seeing that as it stands, three drivers qualify, of course, for the final. So a 1:45.4 is enough to get you in there at the moment. So yeah, I think this is going to be a difficult one to call, David.
Yeah, just watching the way that Stephen Bramwell here, A1 Toon, is driving that car. Of course, you have to try and be as calm and as smooth with these Ginettas as you possibly can. And he looks very, very aggressive with the steering and with the throttle inputs for that car. And I think that's why it's costing him around about 2 seconds a lap over, say, the likes of Stu Wyness. 2.5 minutes left to go. And at the moment, there we go, James Black is 1:44.162, so 3/10 behind Stu Wyness right now. But still, there's nobody else even in contention right now. So if that is the case, then these two have got a pace all to themselves, but it's going to be one heck of a fight for that 3rd place.
Yeah, definitely, and it's interesting to note as well that I think that's Mark Wyness that's in the pit as well with 2 minutes to go in this session, so he's down there 7th place, and he's not going to have enough time to get another lap in, so he's certainly got his work cut out in this heat to try and make his way into the final this weekend. We're still seeing a couple of drivers. Who's that we're on board there with now? That's Andrew Gilman in the red Ginetta, currently 4th place. He's up on his best lap ever so slightly, of course, and now making his way onto that straight in the final part of this lap. So he could be on to improve because there's not a lot separating him and 3rd place of Callum Reid.
Yep, just a minute and a half left to go. At 3rd place of Callum Reid is just 0.2 of a second. In fact, not even that. Slightly less than that, separating 3rd and 4th place. And then again, about 0.3 of a second down to Stephen Bramwell in 5th place. I can see Stephen's quite active on voice chat, so I'm going to provisionally apologise if there's any sort of language coming over the voice chat. We haven't set ourselves on mute just now, so we're at their very mercy tonight. But 3 drivers as well within the 145s, separated by half a second there, Andy.
Yes, and again that's the crucial bubble about trying to get yourself into 3rd place, so that if there's not a lot separating those drivers, it does mean we're in for drama for Heat 2 here, as we're riding here with I think that is Callum Reid, of course, in the white and red Ginetta. Yeah. He's the one on the bubble, 1:45.4, 1.5 seconds off Stu Wyness with his current pole position time. So yeah, and Andrew, I think that's just that was John Glover improving on his time. He's now moved up into 4th place, demoting Andrew Gilman down to 5th, with Stephen Bramwell in 6th place with as we approach the final couple of seconds of this session.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be all done and dusted because Mark Wyness is not going to improve on that time. And yeah, what a race we're going to have coming up, because you've got the 3 cars here that are 4 cars, in fact, that are going to be duking it out for that final 3rd place on the podium, and the gap coming down ever so slightly. So it does look like then is going to be in pole position. Let's have a look. Stu Wyness up there, and 1:43.857 from James Black. But what a race we are going to have here. This is going to be awesome stuff. We've then got in 3rd place, that is of course going to be Callum Reid, and Andrew Gilman saying that was an absolute shocker. Be interested to know, Andrew, what happened there, buddy, because obviously we're used to seeing you a little bit further up, and 5th place you've got a heck of a fight on your hands to take that 3rd place in that final qualifying position. But that is pretty much all of the drivers done their final lap. We're just going to have to wait for the cars to make their way round. But Andy, what do you think we're going to see in this second race?
Well, Andrew Gilman, as you mentioned, we're used to seeing him higher up, but this is where the mind games of motorsport comes into play, because if he dwells on that, then he's giving himself an uphill battle, but we know, and he knows, that he's got the pace. So if he can get a good start, there's no reason why he can't go and get himself into that top three. So this is where the mental side of motorsport really, for me, is absolutely vital, when you're in that position where you know you can do better, but it's up to you and how you approach this challenge. And he's got plenty of drivers round about him that are also very keen to get themselves into the finals. So Andrew's put himself in a position where he's got a little bit of work to do, but he's more than capable of getting the job done.
Yep, certainly is. So we are just seconds away then to getting the cars on the grid for the second race of the evening for the Xboxes, and we will allow them to do that without us being in any sort of harm's way whatsoever. So there we go, we are on the grid and ready to go for our second last race of the evening. Thank you very much for that, Peter. I was sitting a little bit further away from the mic. I was just relaxing there. 7 cars on the grid then. Stu Winus from James Black takes us off for the second Xbox race of the night. And away we go. It's a brilliant start. Is that Andrew Gilman tried to make his way up? No, it's Stephen Bramwell with a little bit of bump and run on the run up to turn 1. Who is that on the inside there? That looks to be Incline and Skate. That is, oh my goodness me, and that's Stu Winus being turned around at turn 1, and that is absolute disaster.
Not what Stu Winus wants at all. That was a very, very unusual one as well, because he did seem to have the inside line and looked to be out of trouble, but just being a coming together there as all the drivers are trying to take the...
try to get inside. Who was that? That was Andrew Gilman, who was sent off to the moon. And I think that might have been Incline and Skate. That's Mark Winus, I think that was, that got into him. I might be very wrong, but put it this way, we'll definitely have to save the replay after that one tonight.
So that's Mark Winus, Stuart Winus and Andrew Gilman all having a tough opening lap here, to say the least. But look who's in the lead. Stephen Bramwell momentarily there having a great scrap with John Glover, and there's 4 cars round about him, all very keen to make their way through the pack as well. Really, really interesting start to this one, David.
Oh, Xbox Racing, welcome back. We missed you. Right, John Glover in the lead then from Callum Reeds. And John Glover, I would never have expected to be up into the lead as we go in towards the final corners. Oh, and there he goes. John Glover just keeps the foot in, and there is absolute mayhem right now. He got tagged in the rear, tried to keep the foot in, and it was never going to happen. More contact behind there. That is Stephen Bramwell and John Glover. So John Glover now loses out even more and all the way down into 5th place there. I think what happened is John Glover tried to take the corner and there was somebody up on the inside that just was never going to work. That is going to be Incline and Skate up on the inside there. That is, of course, Mark Winus. Just takes 2nd place there from Callum Reid. So it's now James Black into the lead from Mark Winus, and then Callum Reid in 3rd place with Stephen Bramwell up into 4th. John Glover is desperately trying to get back onto the end of that train there. Stu Winus down in 6th place. He's trying to recover, and Andrew Gilman in 7th place. What a start to the race, Andy.
Absolutely phenomenal, David. And there's more drama. Oh, look
wow,
at
that was Mark Winus just absolutely lost it of his own accord on the exit of the corner there, took a bit of the grass, and it's Goodnight Vienna into the wall. That's 5 seconds behind, and that is almost certainly gone to his chances for qualifying this weekend. That was absolutely incredible stuff there.
Definitely. And what that does is put Stephen Bramwell in a very good position now. He's in 3rd place. He's the final man as it stands who's going to be in the finals this weekend. I think he's had a pretty decent race so far, I have to say. He's kept that car fairly out of trouble. But as we know, of course, 6 and a bit minutes left to go. And this has been a very, very nervy one so far, and I'm sure there's going to be more drama still to come. But it's James Black currently a gap of just around a second or so from Callum Reid, and then it's Stephen Bramwell currently on third. But look at that, he's got John Glover, who's now got a good run out the last corner. He's moved into third place. He's more than a couple of car lengths clear of Stephen Bramwell, who tucks into that slipstream. Can he make a move into the first corner? Maybe thinks better of it. Stu Wyness, that is there at the back. He's looking to try and get involved as well.
There was contact there.
Contact there, David. Yep.
Yeah, he managed to get away with it, but that was a little bit naughty, outbreaking Stephen Bramwell in front of him, and that is not what you want to see. So 7 cars still in this race. It's still James Black by a second and a half over Callum Reid, then John Glover in third place from about 0.2 of a second over Stephen Bramwell. This is brewing up very, very nicely between these two, so it'll be very interesting to see how this one resolves itself. And just behind that, Stu Wyness as well, and Andrew Gilman in 6th place. Andrew Gilman on the recovery drive, so he's doing not too bad. He might be able to make himself up into perhaps 4th place right now. So he's actually, from me saying that that's his qualifying hopes done, he's now 1.8 seconds behind John Glover.
Yeah, he's in the zone. His times are very, very good. At 1:46.2 last time out. So, I mean, as we spoke about it just before this race, David, no Andrew's got the pace, but now can he make his way through the pack? He's now got Stephen Bramwell, who he's giving chase to. Stephen's had a good race so far, and he'll be keen not to go further down the order, but Andrew's hot on his heels and looks like he's going to, I thought he was going to throw that one up the inside there. He's thought better of it. Oh, now he comes in because Stephen's had a little bit of drama there on the exit. Andrew says, thanks very much, I'll take that. And he is now up a position and into this race.
And we've had our first retirement already. Stu Wyness loses it on the exit of the penultimate corner, goes straight off into the wall, and that is him done. John Glover then up into 3rd place ahead of Andrew Gilman, and the gap now is 2.5 seconds between Andrew Gilman and John Glover. So this is incredible stuff, especially when you consider that Callum Reid and John Glover are now fighting it out, and they could easily come to blows right now.
Yes, they absolutely could. John Glover, I think, again, had a pretty good race so far as well. Very, very close between that car and ahead of him. He's just sizing him up here because there's not a lot of room at this part of the track to try and make an overtake. Quick flash of the brakes there as well. He's got a run, but I don't think that's going to be quite enough this time round, David, with just over 3 and a bit minutes left in this session. But yes, I think Andrew Gilman is going to be the one to watch in there at 4th place at the moment. You see a little flash of the lights there as well. But he looks like he's just got a bit of a gap between him and Stephen Bramwell, which is absolutely crucial at this phase of the race, because if he has Stephen Bramwell trying to make a move, that's going to slow him down. But he's got 3 of them, and now he is hunting down the cars in front of him.
Wow, what a view we've got then from the cockpit of Andrew Gilman. This is the battle for the final qualification place, and the fight between John Glover and Callum Reid has now brought them 4.5 seconds behind your race leader James Black, streaking off into the distance and off into the sunset, and this could be Andrew Gilman to sweep up the remnants of this podium. Remember, he could quite easily take both these places here and get into 2nd place. I would never have seen that coming at all from Andrew Gilman, and he's safely into that 4th place here. What is going to happen in these final couple of laps that we've got going?
Very interesting there, Dave. Just noticing Andrew on that back straight. Notice how he's weaving that Ginetta car. He's trying to get as much heat as possible into those slick tyres to try and give him maximum grip so that he can close down the cars in front of him, of Callum Reid and John Glover. This is absolutely, stage is set for a cracker of a finale to this race. Andrew Gilman, he's got that rhythm now. He's got that car hooked up and dialed in. Can he make it count though?
Right, well, we'll pause that for just a second, because apparently we've now got no volume for the cars in game, so I'll go and see if I can fix that one. So Andy, again, I'll hand things over to you.
Thank you very much, and here we are, rider on board with John Glover, 2nd place at the moment in the race. Last time out at 1:47.2, so much quicker than Callum Reid, who's currently in that 3rd and final qualifying place. Of course, as we spoke about, Andrew Gilman hot on his heels there. Look at that red car behind him. And yep, John Glover's got a bit of a gap between the two of those battling drivers, crucial as well. So that takes the pressure off him a little bit as they make their way around the second part of this lap with just under a minute and a half left. So not a lot of time left in this session. But it's John Glover currently in second, 2.8 seconds behind our race leader, James Black, who's had a very, very impressive heat here this evening. But again, this is where all the drama is. Andrew Gilman, can he make it count? Currently in fourth place with just Callum Reid and this man, John Glover, currently in second place as they make their way down the back straight. Little flash of the lights there from Andrew Gilman. I think he's just too far behind this time round to try and make a move. But it's John Glover now who's under a little bit of pressure from Callum Reid. There's not much separating those two. There he is. Callum's having a little look up the inside, but no, John Glover says, I'll be protecting that line, but with everything that he's got within his powers. And he's lives to fight another day, and here he is now. He's still Callum Reid determined to make his way through here as we come through this tricky part of the Silverstone-inspired part of the track. A little flash of the brakes there from John Glover. He wants to get that Ginetta settled as they come through as they make their way through the chicane here. And there he is, Andrew Gilman, hot in his heels. Look at the pace in that red Ginetta as they come on the back straight here. Oh, here we go, still rider on board, and there it is. Andrew Gilman's made his way through now. He's past Callum Reid. What a move!
Wow. Never saw that one coming. That was awesome stuff. So Andrew Gilman then moves up into third place, and that has absolutely mugged Callum Reid of that third place there. And you wouldn't bet against him going against John Glover, but he's got a harder job right now because Callum Reid trying to come around on the outside on this lap here, and I think this is going to be the final lap, isn't it? As they come round towards Callum Reid on the outside. He's going to make a dive up the inside. It's never going to work, and that's going to hand all the momentum now to Andrew Gilman. What a race. But it's all been about that man. James Black is going to come out of the final corner there, and he comes across the line then to win race number 2 here for the Xbox One. It's going to be second place for John Glover, third place for Andrew Gilman, and in fourth place is going to be Callum Reid, who had a time penalty anyway, and then Stephen Bramwell in fifth place. And then at the back is Mark Wyness. Wow. What do you say to that one, Andy?
Outstanding, absolutely outstanding. It's unlucky on Callum Reid there because he had a pretty solid race, but what a drive from Andrew Gilman, phenomenal. And it really, we think back to qualifying, he seemed to be far from happy with that car and his own performance, but he pulled that back in style. Real drama right to the finish there. Great move up the inside, I have to say. I didn't think he was going to go for it at that moment in time. I was holding my breath, wondering what was going to happen, but fair play to him. Absolutely fantastic performance from Andrew, and he's in the final this weekend.
What a cracking race there. Confirmation then of your results. James Black from John Glover in second place. Third place then for Andrew Gilman. Fourth place for Callum Reid. Fifth place for Stephen Bramwell. Mark Wyness finishes in sixth place. And that is all she wrote. We'll take a very short break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes for heat number 3 of the SMRC eSports Racing Summer Championship. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our final race of the evening here, round 6 of the SMRC eSports Racing Summer Championship at Circuit of the Americas. This is the national layout, and we are on to qualifying heat number 3 for the Xbox One. Another 7 cars are taking part in this. We are due to have 10 cars in this, but only 7 have shown up tonight. This is who we have got in for Xbox Heat number 3. We've got Bryn Hawkins, Scott Anderson, Chris Cherry, Ian Wilson, Cormac Patterson, Tony Logie, Cameron Evans, Jay Kennedy, Tom Binney and Shay Brennan. And we only have 7 of those drivers. Remember, 3 of those are going to qualify tonight, and this is a very, very fast heat, Andy. So a very warm welcome back, and we'll just pretend that I haven't accidentally muted us both for the past 2.5 minutes here, but we're on qualifying then for the final race of the evening here, qualifying heat number 3. And Andy, I feel thoroughly embarrassed, mate, because you were getting into some proper spiel there, as we see somebody going very, very wide. Who just went to the sky there? Somebody just...
I wonder if it was Cameron Evans because he's gone out of the pits, or was it...
I think it was. Actually. I think that's some good eyesight right there.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got 6 and a bit minutes left in this session, so he's got plenty of time to get a lap on the board, but he'll certainly have his tail between his legs, that's for sure. And here we are right on board with Chris Sherry there as we move. He makes his way down the straight towards the second phase of this lap. And yeah, I think this is going to be a very, very interesting finale, David, because that second heat certainly provided a lot of drama, to say the least. And Danny in the YouTube chat here, I think, summed it up very nicely where he said it was everyone trying to race the right way, and that's what we like to see, David.
It certainly is. Racing the right way makes it sound like that's a like that's an achievement. Well, yeah, okay, maybe not. Cormac Patterson, shake and bake. Here we go. Cormac is very, very excited to be part of this, and we do love Cormac. He's a bit of a national treasure, is he, in the sim racing world?
Yeah, exactly. Cormac's got the pace as well. He's in the chat there doubting himself, but I do enjoy watching Cormac. I have to say, I like his driving style. As he goes a little bit wider, and that's going to compromise his lap there, to say the least. So yeah, he's got a little bit of work to do then. He will not get a representative time on the board this time. But interesting to note there, Tony Logie, a 1:43 dead. Absolutely stunning time there, as we come to expect from Tony. But look at that, Aidan Wilson, who again is no slouch, 2.2 seconds off the pace. I mean, that is something else.
Yeah, that is a bit bizarre, isn't it? It's very, very unusual. Right, let's go on board then. We have got the onboard audio as loud as it possibly can go, guys. So unfortunately, that is as loud as you're going to get it. Yeah, you'll just have to put up with our dulcet tones for the final race of the evening, Andy.
Well, this is the perils of technology, David. It's it can sound great in your own cans, but sometimes the output doesn't necessarily reflect that. But I mean, I think it's irrespective of our levels. I think the main thing is we've had some great racing throughout tonight, and absolutely no doubt about it that we're going to be in for more of the same in this final heat of the Xbox Championships as we follow Cormac Patterson here. The only driver, of course, not to have a time on the board as of yet. But it's interesting to note, David, that quite a spread out pace from the drivers so far.
Yeah, but he just doesn't want to intimidate the other drivers. That's what it is. He's waiting until we're right towards the end, and then he's going to unleash the beast, as he would call it. We've got 4 minutes left to go, so he's got plenty of time to do that. But it's still Tony Logie 1:43.093, who is on the pole position.
Yeah, very, very good lap time from Tony, of course. And yeah, he does seem to just very much be at ease with this Ginetta, I have to say, David, because we've seen him consistently produce great lap times and indeed great racing. So he seems to be one driver who's very, very happy with these cars. You do find some drivers who prefer a car that they can stamp it on the brakes, throw it into the corner and deal with the aftermath. But these Ginettas, as we know, don't really like that style of driving. You've got to be smooth. You've got to be cautious, almost to a degree, and bide your time with them. And that's when they'll reward you with performance. And Tony is certainly maximising every inch of pace and power out of that car.
Yeah, certainly is. So here's a roundup then of the Xbox leaderboard going into this weekend. Tony Logie as ahead of Cameron Evans from 183 points to 116. James Black in third place with Josh McNabb in fourth. Andrew Gilman in fifth place. And then Aidan Wilson with 75 points in sixth place. So a lot of those top championship contenders are fighting it out here.
Absolutely, and of course only 3 of them can get their way into this final, so this is going to be a real opportunity for those who do make their way into Sunday's final events to really get a gain on some of the drivers round about them here. So that's the beauty of these Xbox heats. We can have lots of drivers taking part, but when there's only 3 that can get their way through, then the pressure really is on. As we see Cameron Evans, look at that time there, a 1:42.9. That puts him top of the timesheets as we stand with a little over 2 minutes left. Tony Logie demoted to second place with a 1:43.0. Oh, look at that, not a lot between them at all. And then Tony's gets it round there in style, and I thought he was going to manage to hang on to it, but he's he's got the car pointing the wrong way. Wow. And
but look at that, Cameron Evans, 1:42.937.
Stunning time from Cameron there. And again, that's the thing, he put that time in And I guess we're kind of talking a little bit about the mind games of motorsport. He's put that time on the board with not a lot left in this session, and Tony's back into the pits. He knows he can't improve on that, and knows that he's going to have to get his work cut out to get his way past Cameron Evans, because that is a real signal of intent from that driver.
Yeah. So here we go then, 1 minute 20 left to go, and this is going to be a cracking little battle going on through the race here. I'm really, really excited for how this is going to develop through the evening.
Oh, definitely. You know, it's been a great qualifying event all in, I would say, David. The last heat was something else, but I think this one as well is it's certainly got a lot to live up to in that respect. But there's some really, really fast names in here, as we know. And as we just come into the final part of this session, let's see if anyone can improve on those times, because that could be the difference, particularly as we know that turn 1 is where a lot of positions have been won and lost.
Yeah. 2 seconds, Andy. I'm going to try something out. So maybe if we are lucky enough... There we go. We should hear a little bit of the audio. That's trying it a different way. So hopefully you guys can hear that now, because I can certainly hear that. Andy, you're still left in the lurch. You can't hear it, unfortunately. But
no, I can hear
you can hear it now?
Yeah, loud and clear. I can hear that
screen.
net up. Yeah, it sounds very nice as well, I have to say, as we ride on board with Cameron Evans, fastest man on the track at the moment, and yeah, he's certainly got that car dialed in.
Yeah, he's looking very, very good indeed. Tony Loki, though, I think he's thrown in the towel a little bit too early, because Cameron Evans getting that upper hand, 142.937. Very possible that he might be able to actually get something else now.
Yeah, I think you could be right. I mean, Tony's maybe taking the pragmatic approach that says, look, there's a tenth between us. It's all about getting a good getaway when the lights go out here, and if he manages to do that, then you know he could disappear off into the sunset, because we know what his race pace is like. So not a lot splitting them. So Cameron Evans will certainly be keen to finish this race with a win under his belt. So absolutely stand by for drama. We're in for a cracking finale to these qualifiers. Yep,
over the line then, Cameron Evans can improve, but what surprises me is the fact that Aidan Wilson, all the way down through Telly Deluxe and Bryn Hawkins, 2.5 to 3 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, it is. It is bizarre to see that, because again, we know they're quick drivers, absolutely no doubt about it. We know they're quick drivers, but again, this is a circuit as well, I think, where some drivers seem a little bit more comfortable with others, and I was wondering earlier on this afternoon, because this is a bit of a newer circuit, do the drivers have less seat time under the belt around here compared to, say, Silverstone, where some drivers will have been going around that circuit for, say, 15-20 years or so. You've not necessarily got as much seat time around COTA, so I wonder if that's maybe playing a role in some way, shape or form. I'm not too sure. Maybe it's in the mindset side of it, I don't know. But Cameron Evans, he's certainly more than happy with his pace if he finishes this session on pole position.
Yep, there we go. Cameron Evans from Tony Logie and Aidan Wilson in third place, and what a race we are going to have. Let's go for our final race of the evening. Andy, you excited?
Absolutely, yes. This is going to be a cracker here, and it's all about getting away cleanly from the start-finish line. So here we go. Hold on, because we're in for a cracker here.
Yep, so hopefully that is all. It sounds like that's all the audio issues sorted on the stream. This alternative capture method will sound a little bit scratchy, but it is what it is. Here we go, the lights are on, and away we go here at Circuit of the Americas for the final race of the night, race number 3. And that's a storming start from the back of the grid. That's Chris Cherry making his way from 7th all the way up to 3rd by turn 1. That is absurd. Did he get a jump start there?
Just checking the race feed there, David. I'm not too sure, but it was certainly a cracker, that's for sure. But Cameron Evans, he's managed to get a good start as well, because he's got Tony Logie hot on his heels. So Cameron's managed to cement that pole position lap. He's still in the lead of this race. We've got Aidan Wilson in third place. Then it's Chris Cherry after that stunning start. And we've got Cormac Patterson as well. He's made a decent getaway. He's up there in 5th place. So yeah, it's this is going to be a cracker, that for sure. Riding on board here with Scott Anderson currently in 6th place. He's got Bryn Hawkins behind him in 7th. So cars all bunched up together nicely. There's almost like 2 little groups here forming as Chris Sherry down in 5th place. And it's, of course, the front 3 are Cameron Evans, Tony Logie and Aidan Wilson. That's the 3 as it stands who are going to be in the finals on Sunday.
Already a 2.5 between 3rd and 4th place. So Aidan Wilson there trying to look very comfortable. We see Cormac Patterson already with a time penalty on him. So that is not the start that he wanted to have. That is a 2-second penalty. That is a huge hole in his qualification hopes right now.
No, that's a bad one because he's had a pretty decent opening lap here, David. That's the thing. So I just wonder what's happened there. Is it a track limit thing, perhaps? He's just taking a little bit too much of a curb. Perhaps that little chicane.
Oh, contact behind! And that's Chris Cherry with Bryn Hawkins. And who else was caught up in that? That was... let's have a look there. Yeah, that was a bad accident there.
Yeah, I think just one car lost it and collected the other there, David.
Yeah, Scott Anderson, I think that was, that got caught up. I don't know what's happened, but look at that, Tony Logie up into the lead then from Cameron Evans, and we have got all hell breaking loose right now. Because that gap between 3rd and 4th is now just, what's that, 1.6 seconds, so it is coming down. But Cameron Evans will not be letting that one go very lightly, I don't think at all.
Oh, absolutely. Tony Logie, though, he's taking his opportunity. I suspect that was into turn 1 as well. He's got the run on the start-finish straight on Cameron Evans and got a gap of almost half a second. In fact, just slightly more than that. 6-10 separating those two with Aidan Wilson in 3rd place at the moment. So, yeah, it's you know, that fight between the two of them, though, there might be 6-10s between them just now, but that fight is absolutely not over.
Yeah, cracking battle going on right now. Cameron Evans 3 seconds already ahead of Aidan Wilson. And Aidan Wilson coming under real pressure now from Cormac Patterson here. That gap was about 2 seconds. It's now down to just half a second. And Aidan Wilson is really struggling right now.
Yeah, I thought he got the car a little bit unsettled there just on that last corner, and that gives Cormac Patterson an opportunity just to begin gradually reeling him in, though. But again, he's going to want to try and pick his opportunity to make a move here, because 6 and a bit minutes left in this session. Does he just gradually, slow and steady, do it and then fire that car up the inside with a minute or 2 left, or does he try and make the move now and disappear into the sunset? So Cormac's got a bit of a decision to make here, and I'm just wondering how he's not. I thought he would have maybe perhaps been trying to get a little bit more temperature in those tyres and weave down the straight there. Aidan, however, is trying to perhaps break the toe, I wonder, more rather than trying to get temperature into his Ginetta. And that looks like Cormac was taking an unusual line, to say the least, into the opening corner. But he's gone wide, David.
Oh, that is not what you want to see. A little bit of oversteer on the exit of turn 1, and these cars are so sensitive to the inertia, the weight of the car, as we see a huge lock up there for Aidan Wilson, and Aidan Wilson loses it in the most dramatic fashion and hands 3rd place on a platter to Cormac Patterson. What on earth happened there to Aidan Wilson?
Just got that car unsettled on the curbs again. We saw it with Finlay Brunton in the opening heat in the PlayStations. Round about that part of the track, the car just seemed to get all out of shape around about the curbs, and Aidan Wilson, disaster for him, as he has now put himself out of contention for a final spot this weekend with just over 5 minutes left to go in this final heat here this evening.
I tell you what, in fact, that's him gone. He is given up, and we've seen that Aidan Wilson has retired the car from the race, so he has taken no further part in the session there. But as it stands, Bryn Hawkins is going to be your qualifier, because remember, Cormac Patterson has now a 6-second penalty. So that is it. Cormac Patterson is essentially out of qualifying now because of the time penalties that he's accrued.
Yeah, I just wonder if again that's just pushing that Ginetta a little bit too much, and he's got the wrong side of the.
Has he got a drive-through?
Oh, I wonder if it.
Now, yeah, because it's a 5-second maximum limit on the penalties before you get a drive-through penalty. So, yeah, that is absolute disaster for Cormac Patterson. And remember, that's on top of a penalty as well.
Yeah, but it's music to the ears of Bryn Hawkins, though, because he is now in the driving seat, 3rd place, so he will be in the final as things stand. So a little bit of a gap between him and Scott Anderson, I believe, in 4th place. So Yeah, he'll be more than happy with that one. He'll say thanks very much, because I don't think it's going to be likely that he's going to catch up with Cameron Evans and Tony Logie. So he's kind of in that no man's land position as it stands. Just bring that car home, keep it out of trouble, and you'll be with us on Sunday.
Yep, certainly will be. So as it stands then, it is Bryn Hawkins who is into the final on Sunday. He is a second ahead of Scott Anderson, but Scott Anderson again with a time penalty, so he really doesn't need to push. He just needs to keep it easy and he'll be through to the final on Sunday. Meanwhile, Cameron Evans has also got a time penalty as well of 2 seconds behind your race leader Tony Logie, so that secures Tony Logie in the lead, and as the winner of this race. We've got 3.5 minutes left to go.
But what that does as well is really plants a seed within Cameron Evans' head to say, look, you've won the battle, but have you won the war? Because when they come into the race on Sunday, he's going to be very keen to get revenge, because look at those lap times, David. A 1:44.272 for Tony Logie and a 1:44.246 for Cameron Evans. There is absolutely nothing splitting both of these drivers in terms of outright pace.
Yep, now in 1:43.208, and I'd imagine it's going to be, there we go, 1:49.150 for Cameron Evans, and he drops now down 1.5 seconds behind your race leader, so it's 4 seconds that he is behind the race leader. So that almost confirms that it was a track limits incident that's happened there. Back with third place though, as we see Bryn Hawkins trying to hold on to that third place from Stuart Anderson. Now, Scott Anderson, excuse me, but he doesn't really need to fight this too much. As long as he just keeps the pace going, he should be okay here.
Absolutely, but then sometimes, David, in motorsport, this is a very difficult position to manage, because when you don't necessarily need to push all the way, that's when the silly mistakes can happen. You know, sometimes drivers find it difficult to just back off and manage their pace. They've got to push all the way. So Bryn's not quite out of the woods yet, and Scott Anderson will certainly be doing everything he can to unsettle him with just over a minute or so left in this one.
Now, what he doesn't want is there to be any contact between him and Scott Anderson, because obviously that then throws him into the mercy of going further than 2 seconds behind, and then suddenly not qualifying. So he needs to be alert, but just keep on top of things with just 1.5 minutes left to go. It's looking good for Bryn Hawkins. Yeah,
it definitely is. You know, he's had a decent enough race here as well. But again, as we know, David, this championship has thrown up so much drama throughout, and we've had plenty of it here tonight as well. So he's got to just keep calm here with a minute or so left. So they'll probably go around one more time here at COTA tonight. And Scott Anderson, he's still hot on his heels. He's not given up just yet.
I'm just looking at YouTube, and Aidan Wilson saying that he had a quarter of the wheel on the curb and his car went and hit the wall, unsettling the calibration on his Logitech. I tell you what, Andy, that is a racer's excuse right there. That is.
Yeah, but you know, I sympathise with Aidan, because we have seen that happen. We haven't seen, you know, these Ginetta cars. You look at them at face value and think, right, okay, they're not the fastest in a straight line. They'll be reasonably easy to control. I can use all the tracking and then some. They are not forgiving cars at all.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Aidan's found that out the hard way, because we know he's a quick driver, but he just. I would argue that Aidan is perhaps the unluckiest driver that we've got in the SMRC eSports Championship, at least if not the entire competition, because he's had some. You know, he's had some great results, but just the last couple of events have not gone his way at all for one reason or another.
Yeah, no, 100%. And just on that note, I mean, it took me 8 attempts to get a hot lap in, where it didn't completely destroy the car. So it just shows you how difficult these cars are to drive. So yeah, nothing but sympathy for Aidan. And you feel kind of robbed as well, because, like you say, he's one of the fastest drivers we've got in this championship, and somehow or another, something always seems to happen.
Yeah, definitely. It's just, I think he was in a rut a wee bit for a while as well, David. I think he was maybe lacking a little bit of confidence for whatever reason. But and there, Tony Logie's finished that one in style.
Yeah, he's just thrown it to the wind.
Oh, jeez.
Cameron Evans in second place. Bryn Hawkins is going to come across the line. Tony Logie so far ahead that we just didn't even realise he was on the final lap there. Bryn Hawkins is going to be your final qualifier for tonight. Scott Anderson is going to finish in 4th place there. 5th place is going to be Chris Cherry ahead of Cormac Patterson, who takes the very, very, very scenic route around the corner there. And, well, that was a bit awesome. It's been a good night of racing, Andy.
Oh, it definitely has, David. You know, it's one of those circuits I think that has really helped to produce some real drama. Again, it's there's plenty of hot spots to make a move on a driver, and yeah, it's been a fantastic qualifying heats here. And if that again is anything to go by, then make sure you are with us on Sunday, folks, because there's going to be more drama in the finals.
Yep, there certainly is. So, as said, as Andy said, join us on Sunday for live coverage of the finals. Join us tomorrow night as well, where we have our next round of the SMRC iRacing Championship as well. We're into the tail end of that one. But that leaves us with lots and lots of questions going in towards Saturday, with just 3 rounds left to go in the championship. We'll see you on Sunday. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and take it easy.